I'm good. Thanks, Paula, for having me here. I'm super excited that you have given me this opportunity.
I'm super excited too. Elaine Petrakis from California. You are a wellness warrior in the same way as most of our Healing Naturally members are. And you know, when you invited me to your group and your Facebook page, I saw this disclaimer in your banner that really caught my attention, Elaine. I saw that you are trying to help people get healthy or regain their health,
Right.
because you have a personal story, and that with what you went through and what you learned through that story, you help people. So would you like to share that story with us?
Yeah, I would love to. I think I never thought I would be passionate about something like I am about this, but when you do have a personal story and you've gone through something hard, it really makes you want to help other people get on the other side of that problem too. So for me, it started, I would say, probably about 10 years ago. I got something called Meniere's disease, which is an autoimmune disorder, and it has to do with the ear and balance. So at any given moment, I could be sitting here and everything would start spinning. I would have to lay down. It's like when you're a kid and you spin and spin and spin, and then you lay down on the ground and it feels like the world is flipping over.
Oh,
that would happen to me. Yes, terrible. So I then decided, I had always kind of felt that food was medicine, and I decided that I could cure myself with food. And so I went on this quest, and I also saw an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he told me, I'm really sorry to tell you, but you'll never be able to take care of this with food. And I said, well, I'm going to try. So I tried, and I went pretty extreme. And I have to say, when I first started, I was told the things that I needed to cut out if I was going to even make this effort. And it was so overwhelming. I literally sat and cried. I can remember where I was sitting in that moment. I sat and cried. And what I realized over time now is how to help people to not feel the overwhelm that I felt in that moment of hearing what I had to cut out, and help people to ease into it. So what I did was cut out gluten, dairy, soy, corn, caffeine, alcohol, eggs, dairy. So I cut out a lot of stuff, and it was very difficult at first. And I don't recommend people necessarily jumping into that, because I feel like it's not sustainable. What I want to do is help people to do something that's sustainable and start slow.
It was quite a drastic
extremely
change.
Drastic.
But I like very much. There's a question that is pertinent at this point. Where did you grab the information? Because I have found it too, right?
Right.
Those are the things that you need to eliminate from your diet, especially if you have allergies and other conditions.
Right.
But who did you consult with in your quest for knowledge? What kind of books or wellness practitioners? Who was your source of information?
So it started before that with a lady that I had invited to come to my home. She stayed with us for a week in our home and prepared foods for us, but she was an all raw food person, which was super extreme for me too. And that was something I couldn't sustain. Eventually, when I got my health issues and they got to be something I wanted to try and take care of, I don't remember how exactly I came about it, but the medical medium, Anthony William, who I'm sure a lot of people in here are probably familiar with, I started to get a little deeper into his information, and started to base my eating habits around his theory. Over time, I've adapted it a bit to my own, so I can't say that I'm 100% an Anthony William medical medium follower, but it has a lot. I do base a lot of what I do on that. So what I found through my journey of cutting these things out in desperation to try and take care of this dizziness issue is it didn't solve the dizziness issue. But one day I realized, oh my gosh, my joints don't hurt anymore when I get up from sitting for a long time. Oh my gosh, I haven't had my migraines anymore. I used to get chronic migraines about 5 times a week, like hardcore migraines. Those went away. I was borderline Hashimoto's. That cleared itself back to normal. I had a pain in my side about 2 inches in from my hip bone that I had gone for ultrasounds and x-rays and scans and everything, and they never found anything. I had no idea what it was. They had no idea what it was, but I had struggled with that for years. That went away. So there were so many things that changed, and I thought, this is amazing. Like, no, it didn't take care of my dizziness, but it took care of a whole bunch of other things I didn't even really focus. I guess when, you focus on your biggest issue, right? And you kind of let the other stuff. But after the fact, I realized that so many of us don't feel good. And we don't realize that we don't feel good until something really knocks us down.
Yes, yes. And absolutely, food is our best medicine. I cannot agree more with that. And it's so hard for all of us to finally understand it and live by, certain habits. At the beginning, it must have been so hard for you, but then it get easier and easier. And now you develop like a palate for healthy foods as opposed to what you were eating before.
Very much so. And it's interesting because now my biggest focus, as I said, is easing people in. I don't expect that people will just cut out everything like I did. I was at a really desperate point in order to do that. So, because I can tell you there are a few things that are worse than being just taken down in an instant, whether you're out shopping or at a formal dinner or sitting in your kitchen cooking, and then they take you down for hours. So in learning through my journey, I've learned that I want to help people. The things that I didn't want to give up were some of my sweets and some of the things that I really loved, and my bread, and all of those things we think we can't have when we're dieting. And I've found really great alternative sources for those things and things that replace them, so I don't feel like I'm deprived. But one of the most amazing things about this journey is that there are people you see and they say, oh, I eat whatever I want, I don't gain any weight. And you're just like, truly, I have gotten to the point where I eat whatever I want and I don't gain weight. And I will tell you, the caveat to that is I don't want the crappy, junky, sugary, that stuff is so disgusting to me now. So
yes.
I really don't want that stuff anymore.
I don't have tolerance for sugar in the levels that we eat it here in this country with when you buy things that are already made. What I'm curious about something is your dizziness, which was the main or major issue, did not improve at all, did not go away. Are you still experiencing it?
No, I ended up having to take some extreme measures with that. There are injections, steroid injections that they were having to do in my ear. It's on my right side, which part of Meniere's disease is ringing in the ear, which I have 24/7 to this day, which I feel like that is something, if I become even more diligent and strict, I will be able to eliminate that. I really believe that.
Yes.
But I did the steroid treatment. Oh, hearing loss is another, I don't know if I said that. Hearing loss and the ringing in the ear are two of the symptoms that come with it.
It's called tinnitus, right?
Yes. So
a
lot of people have that, or they might get vertigo and think, oh, maybe I have. Meniere's disease is a little more extreme. So I did have to in the end result getting an injection that basically kills the function of balance in that side of my ear, that ear. So then the brain like adjusts and lets the other ear kind of take over. So now, thank God, knock on wood, I don't have any more of that, though I have had a couple vertigo issues over the years, but I think that's totally unrelated to the Meniere's, thank God. So I just right now never want to go back to some of the other health issues, and I feel so good and have so many positives that why would I want to go back?
Well, the ones that you mentioned, like joint pain, and this other in your spine, there's nothing worse than being in pain. So the fact that you eliminated that is a major accomplishment. And did you also lose weight in this process?
I did. I lost about 23 pounds,
Oh my
and I
goodness.
have kept within a 2 pound little waiver. I've kept that off now for 2 years. And believe me, I will tell you, not that I highly recommend this, I don't, but I love pumpkin pie. And I found a recipe that is Elaine legal for pumpkin pie. And I literally ate 3 pumpkin pies in 2 weeks' time around the holidays by myself.
Oh my goodness. And well,
And I
that,
didn't gain weight.
I believe there are certain pies that are healthier than others. Because
Right.
if you really make it with a bunch of pumpkin and cinnamon, and brown sugar, cane sugar, or some kind of molasses,
Coconut sugar.
then you make it healthier. And why not enjoy it during the holidays? So I think that is a wonderful reward that you deserve. And such an inspiring story. How do you think that you are helping friends? Because I know that you have a Facebook group on healthy eating, in the same way as our friend Claudia in our group has hers.
Right.
And you have two different approaches or styles. How do you help your friends there in that group, in case that some of our members want to join it? What do you offer there? What kind of advice?
Right now, what I'm offering in there is I get in occasionally, we'll post. One of the things I put in there recently was, as my banner says, cake for breakfast. I literally have mug cake almost every day for breakfast, and I show how to make that. I occasionally get in there, just put little motivational things that remind us. But the main thing why I would love to have anybody that would like to join us there is that I am working on, for January 17th, a 5-day, I don't want to call it a challenge. I want to call it an event or something where I show people recipes that they can make to replace some of the things that are not the best options, and to talk about some ingredients and why those would be healthy and helpful to their bodies, give pointers and tips on how they can start the journey into feeling better. So I'll be putting more and more information in the group about that, and as it gets closer. And I would love to have people join us there, because I know so many women just don't realize how they don't feel good like they used to, or as they could.
Exactly. And it's such a good New Year's resolution, right?
Yes.
We all talk about them, and it's one of the most important things to enjoy life, with good food, also with friends, and to celebrate life. Because
Absolutely.
we have forgotten during these times, we have forgotten about celebrating. Everybody lives in their own cubicles, and I think that we really need to celebrate life, and getting a nice meal and good food and healthy food is such a wonderful thing to do, right? From the start of the day until we go to bed. Why don't you share a snack? What would you have for a healthy snack, for instance?
Oh gosh, I have several that I love, but two of my very favorites are, there's Kite Hill almond yogurt, is I found to be one of the better tasting plain yogurts. And I put chopped walnuts, and drizzle that with honey. That's one of my absolute favorite dessert.
Oh my goodness,
Or
that
snacks.
sounds
And
delicious.
right, and you can have that for breakfast, you can have it for dessert. Another one of my favorites, and it's really simple and you can take it even with you somewhere, is apples with almond butter and some cinnamon sprinkled on. And that you get the sweetness of the cinnamon and the apple, and I don't know, it's just so good.
One of the things that I would love to hear you say, same as Claudia in her videos, would be to expand while you do the recipes. When you make those meals, explain what you know about something. For instance, I know that walnuts, the shape of a walnut resembles the shape of the brain.
Right.
And it's the way that God, in his pedagogy, created things with certain shapes to tell us, hey, this is good for here. Right. Or eggplant has incredible properties for the uterus. of the woman. So, and it has the shape of a uterus. So celery is excellent for your bones, and it has the shape of a bone. So nobody taught this to us in elementary school. What a wonderful subject to teach while you make your recipes, to remind people, hey, do this because this is good for you. And I love what you said, because I'm tired of hearing there's no cure for autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
There's no cure for this. There's no cure for that. And then people go live in despair. And how much hope are you giving them with this interview?
I think too, one of the biggest things I realize is there's so many people that I do talk to that they say, well, I eat healthy, and then my parents are a great example of that. Overall, sure, they eat healthy, but then I will go there and I'll look and I'll say, Mom, look at the salad dressing. Look at the things in here. Well, oh, it's okay. Well, I go, okay, yeah, it's just the salad dressing and it's just the ketchup that you're using and it's just the seasoning you're putting on top. So when you add the just and the just and the just, it's a lot of stuff. So people, I think a lot of times think that if they see, oh, it's gluten-free or, oh, it's organic, that just means it's healthy, or that you walk into Whole Foods and everything in there is healthy. It's not.
Yes.
So I'd like to also help people to learn to look at the labels and understand them, because that was another one. And I'm not a scientist. I don't remember all the things, but I know a few key things that if we can look at, we can start to make some progress towards feeling better. And that's my goal.
Exactly. Well, that's so nice. And going back to the ingredients and the labels and everything else, we have here in the city that I live in Wisconsin, our local bakery, which is very good, is called Great Harvest. So I don't have a completely gluten-free diet because I'm of Italian descent. Okay, so I love pasta and bread, but they have a disclaimer. I have a picture. Maybe I will add it in this video at the end. I have a picture from their place where they say, if you can't pronounce the ingredients in your bread, don't eat it. Okay, don't eat it. So that goes along the lines of what you were saying, right?
It does. And I will also say, though, that there are things that sound like a chemical name that are not. So it's a little tricky at times. And that's why I say I'm not at all really super proficient in that, but enough that I have learned some things that I can share with people that, this sounds like a chemical name, but it's not. And I'm Greek, so a lot of the words are of Greek origin. So I can also see that, oh, that makes sense, that sounds like a chemical name, but it's just a Greek version or the Greek origin of the word that makes it sound that way. So it is tricky. And I'm learning to navigate through that too. But again, I feel like I have gotten enough information that people who are still back here trying to catch up to that, where I'm trying to catch up to that, I can at least help them,
Yes, well, I cannot congratulate you more for this initiative that you have had, Elaine, because I believe that if we create these small communities that we're doing using, in our case, Facebook groups, we're spreading the good news that we can heal naturally. We can heal our bodies naturally. We can heal our minds naturally with the right interventions. And your journey is amazing. I think that I would like to encourage you to write a book and then publish a course with me, okay? So, and I invite everybody in your group, because most likely you will publish this video in your group, and to put their content online. And I encourage everybody in my group to also put their content online from each angle. Every one of us has a different skill set, and from different angles we can help each other, and it creates a ripple effect. And then we will not be bombarded by the propaganda that we are currently having. Okay, so I thank you very much for joining me.
Well, I want to thank you so much for the work that you're doing, because it's funny that I found you just through your Facebook group. And it turns out that we ended up having other connections in common that I was totally unaware of at the time. But I feel so, I love what you're doing. And I love that you're bringing on people to talk more about this, because like you say, it is a ripple effect. So
Yes.
sometimes we think one person can't change anything. One person starts that ripple and it does change everything.
It does change everything, and we encourage each other, because in our groups we have also professionals and entrepreneurs and authors and writers. So when they start seeing that, well, so many people are doing something in their niche to help their communities, and it's so encouraging. It fills my heart, and it gives me more purpose to keep doing this quest for knowledge and new practices, and to support each other, because it's our seventh power. I believe that we, through, you can find horrible things online, or you can build a wonderful world around you online as well. And that is what we're trying to do, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, this will be the first one of a series of interviews, I always say, because whenever you have a new product or a new course or something, we will bring you back to Healing Naturally, so you can tell us about your new venture. Okay.
I would love that. So hopefully send everybody that would like to join me at Elaine Gundunas Petrakis. And that is my personal Facebook page, but there is a place where you can join me if you'd like to join our Facebook group, which the Facebook group
well, I always say at the end of the video, click the link below.
Oh, perfect.
Remember that I was trained by Russell Brunson, right? I was trained as digital marketing. I went to Funnel Hacking Live in Orlando this year. And, I always do like him. He's so much fun. Click here below.
Okay, so Paula will put for you to click the link below, but I sure would love to have you join our group over there, so that if you're interested in learning more about my journey, more about how I can help you with your journey, starting January 17th is going to be my 5-day event. So please join me there. I think I can teach you a little something or a lot of something, depending on where you're at this point.
We will love to join you, Elaine, and learn more. And I'm very much interested in getting that recipe for breakfast, because I still have 2 teenagers in the home, and time is tight early morning and they are hungry. So I'm going to check it out. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Talk to you soon.
All righty.
Bye.